What keeps you up at night is not your age or stress. It is the fact that your brain no longer recognizes when it is time to rest. Have you ever laid in bed for hours, eyes closed, but your mind constantly racing? Have there been nights when you suddenly woke up for no reason and then tossed and turned until morning, even though your body was completely exhausted? If so, you are definitely not alone. And here is something important you need to know. Sleep does not come just because you are tired. It comes when your brain is properly programmed to recognize that it is time to rest. In this video, I'm going to guide you on how to retrain your brain to restore its natural ability to sleep. This is not about quick tips or temporary tricks. These are strategies backed by solid science. From setting the right biological signals at the right time, building consistent nightly neurological reflexes, calming down the brain region that controls anxiety, changing harmful habits in your bedroom, to eliminating small factors that can sabotage your ability to get into deep sleep. Sleep is not something you force yourself to have. It is the result of a brain that has been properly guided and consistently prepared each day to enter a calm and restful state. Before we begin, leave a comment like, "I am retraining my brain to sleep better every night," as a positive commitment to yourself. And do not forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out on practical content that helps you sleep deeper, live healthier, and feel more fulfilled every single day. To train your brain for deep sleep, the first thing we need to understand is this: what exactly inside the brain controls sleep? And why is this system so easy to disrupt? If you want to train your brain to sleep well, the very first step is to recognize that sleep does not come naturally. It is controlled by two main neurological systems in the brain: the sleep pressure, known as the homeostatic sleep drive, and the biological clock or circadian rhythm. If either of these systems gets thrown off, your brain will not be able to activate its rest mode, even if you are completely exhausted. The first system, the sleep pressure, works like a biological timer. As you stay awake, your brain starts to build up a chemical called adenosine. The more it builds up, the sleepier you feel. That is why, after a long day, your body feels drained and your brain wants to rest. While you sleep, the level of adenosine gradually decreases, giving you that sense of recovery. But if you take an overly long nap, consume caffeine, or experience prolonged stress, this process gets disrupted. At the same time, there is the biological clock, a system that regulates your entire 24-hour cycle. It is located in the hypothalamus, and it manages the rhythm of hormones, body temperature, blood pressure, and especially the release of melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body that it is time to rest. Melatonin does not make you fall asleep instantly. Instead, it acts like a personal scheduler, getting your brain ready to shift into rest mode. But if you expose yourself to bright light, especially blue light from screens, the production of melatonin comes to a halt. These two systems have to work in sync. If your sleep pressure is high, but your biological clock has not yet given the green light, you will still feel awake. On the other hand, if melatonin is released at the right time, but you just took a late nap or your brain has not built up enough adenosine, you will still struggle to sleep deeply. This is exactly why so many people, especially older adults, often feel tired but still cannot fall asleep. Understanding these two systems is the foundation for learning how to retrain your brain to return to its natural resting rhythm. And only then can we begin to build the right habits that help your brain recognize when it is truly time for sleep. Now that we understand how the brain controls sleep, the next important question is, how do we apply that knowledge in real life? In this section, I will guide you through practical techniques to help retrain your brain and restore its natural ability to sleep deeply. 1. Train your biological signals. The first step in training your biological signals is to set a consistent bedtime and wake-up time every day. This is not just generic advice, it is a proven neurological technique. When you maintain a regular sleep schedule for a long enough period, your brain's internal biological clock, known as the circadian rhythm, will synchronize with that routine. At that point, your brain starts producing melatonin at the right time, calming the nervous system and helping your body naturally ease into sleep without forcing it. On the other hand, irregular sleep patterns confuse your brain like a broken clock that rings at midnight or forgets to go off in the morning. However, timing alone is not enough. Light is the most powerful tool for resetting your internal clock. In the morning, make sure to get some natural sunlight within 30 to 60 minutes after waking up. This helps reset your biological rhythm and suppresses melatonin production, making you feel more alert during the day and more ready for sleep at night. At night, avoid exposure to blue light from your phone, television, or tablet, because this kind of light powerfully suppresses melatonin, tricking your brain into thinking it is still daytime. If you must use a device switch to a warmer light setting or use blue light filtering software to reduce its impact. Another biological signal that often goes unnoticed but is highly effective is body temperature. Biologically, when your body begins to cool down, it sends a natural signal to your brain that it is time for sleep. So you can trick your brain by slightly lowering the room temperature in the evening to about 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, or by taking a warm bath before bed, because once you step out of the tub, your body temperature drops, triggering the sleep cycle. This is not a mere tip. It is a way to use biological signals to guide your brain's neural reflexes. 2. Create conditioned sleep responses. If you have ever trained a young child to go to bed at the same time every night, you may have noticed something interesting just turning off the lights, telling a familiar story, or playing a certain lullaby will naturally make the child sleepy without needing to say a word. This does not only apply to children. Adult brains also respond powerfully to conditioned reflexes, and you can absolutely use this principle to reprogram your own sleep. A conditioned reflex is a concept from neuropsychology first researched in the 20th century by the scientist Ivan Pavlov. In his famous experiment, dogs began to salivate just by hearing a bell. Because they had learned to associate that sound with food, the same concept can be applied to sleep. If you perform a specific set of behaviors before bed and repeat them consistently every night, your brain will learn to associate those actions with the signal that it is time to rest. For example, you can create a routine like this. Dim the lights, brush your teeth, put on pajamas, read a few pages of a relaxing book, listen to some meditative music, and then go to bed. If you repeat this for 2 to 3 weeks, your brain will start to form a silent connection between those behaviors and melatonin release. After a while, simply opening that familiar book or playing that specific song will make your brain think, it is bedtime, and it will automatically activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the system that helps you relax, slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, and enter deep sleep. The key here is consistency. If some nights you stay up late watching movies, and other nights you fall asleep while working, your brain has no stable signal to learn from. Just like training, a muscle repetition is the key. Every time you follow the correct sequence, you are teaching your brain again. And once it becomes a habit, sleep will no longer be a struggle. Another example is sound. Many people use meditation music, rainfall, or ocean waves as part of their bedtime routine. At first, you might not notice much difference, but after a few weeks of listening to the same sound at the same time each night, your brain will begin to associate that sound with a relaxed state and only start producing melatonin when it hears it. That is conditioned neural response at work, a powerful mechanism that very few people know how to use correctly. 3. Calm the brain's anxiety center. Many people have experienced this during the day. They are busy and their minds are relatively quiet. But as night falls and everything around becomes still, the brain suddenly goes into overdrive. Unfinished thoughts, worries, or hidden fears all start flooding in. This is not just a coincidence. It is a real neurological response, specifically caused by the overactivity of a brain region called the amygdala. The amygdala is a small part of the brain located deep within the limbic system. It plays a key role in processing emotions, especially fear and anxiety. At its core, it helps us survive by warning us of threats. However, in adults, especially those dealing with chronic stress, underlying depression, or emotional dysregulation, the amygdala can become hyperactive, even when there is no real danger. The problem is at night, when the rational part of the brain, the cortex, winds down and the sympathetic nervous system remains on alert. This overactive amygdala prevents the brain from fully relaxing into sleep. That is why many people find themselves completely exhausted, but still unable to fall asleep, or wake up in the middle of the night and cannot get back to sleep because their thoughts are racing. Addressing the amygdala, not with medication, but with neuropsychological techniques, is one of the most effective ways to fix this. One of the best methods is to write down your worries and thoughts before going to bed. It may sound simple, but neurologically, it helps transfer information from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning. You are basically telling your brain, I have acknowledged this already, now I can set it aside. After practicing this for a few nights, your brain begins to learn how to stand down at night. Next is mindfulness meditation, a method supported by a large body of research that shows it can reduce both the size and overactivity of the amygdala. When you sit quietly, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without reacting, you are training your brain not to overreact to anxiety. Just 5 to 10 minutes each night before bed is enough to calm your nervous system and activate the parasympathetic system, the body's natural rest mode. 4. Eliminate habits that make it hard for you to sleep. One of the simplest yet most overlooked reasons for insomnia is this: your brain no longer associates your bed with sleep. In many cases, people struggling with insomnia do not realize that their daily use of the bed, for working, watching movies, scrolling through social media, even eating, has essentially retrained the brain with the wrong message about what the bed is actually for. The brain is incredibly sensitive when it comes to forming associations between behaviors and environments. If you regularly use your bed to answer emails, browse your phone, watch entertainment, or let your thoughts wander, your brain will gradually start to associate the bed with being awake. It is similar to how you feel hungry when you sit at the dining table, or how you feel ready to move when you enter a gym. The problem is, once your brain becomes used to staying alert in bed, then even when you are exhausted, simply lying down can actually make you feel more awake. That is why the most important rule is this: only use your bed for 2 things: sleep and intimate activity. Do not work, do not watch TV, do not use your phone, and do not eat in bed. You are retraining your brain to understand that lying in bed means time to sleep. It is not just about what you do in bed, but also when you go to bed. You should only lie down when you are genuinely sleepy. If you get into bed too early while still wide awake, your brain will not have enough reason to enter rest mode. According to neurological reflex theory, an action only builds a strong connection when it happens repeatedly under the same emotional state. If you keep lying in bed while mentally alert, your brain will learn that the bed is a place to stay awake. A very effective tip recommended by sleep therapists is this: if you cannot fall asleep after about 20 minutes in bed, get up immediately. Do not just lie there waiting or forcing it. Leave the bedroom and do something dull and relaxing, like reading a light book under dim lighting or listening to soft music. Avoid scrolling on your phone or watching videos. The light and content will reactivate your alertness. The key is to only return to bed once you truly feel sleepy again. Every time you do this, you are helping your brain strengthen the association. The bed is for sleeping. Over time, if you stick to this rule consistently, your brain will gradually replace the wrong reflex with a new one that brings on sleep naturally the moment you lie down. 5. Activate rest mode to sleep more deeply. Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, eyes closed, lights off, doing nothing at all, yet your mind keeps racing endlessly? That is a sign that you are lacking the ability to suppress wakefulness, a subtle but crucial function of the nervous system. Just like a light switch must be fully turned off for a room to go dark, your brain also needs a switch to turn off alertness in order to enter sleep mode. While you are awake, the sympathetic nervous system is in charge. It keeps you alert, energized, and ready to respond, which is great during the day, but becomes a major obstacle at night. To sleep well, you need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for relaxation, digestion, and sleep. The great news is, we can actually train ourselves to make this neurological shift on purpose. One of the simplest and most effective techniques is the 4-7-8 breathing method. This technique is designed to slow your heart rate, stabilize your blood pressure, and help your brain shift into relaxation. Here is how to do it. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat this cycle 4 to 8 times. When you extend your exhale, you activate the vagus nerve, the main nerve of the parasympathetic system, which sends a powerful signal to your brain that says everything is safe. You can rest now. Next is progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR. This technique involves 2 steps: consciously tensing a group of muscles, holding for a few seconds, then releasing completely. You can start with your toes and feet, gradually moving up toward your head. Each time you tense and release, you are teaching your brain to recognize the difference between tension and relaxation, helping to reduce stress signals traveling through your central nervous system. After several weeks of regular practice, your body will begin to enter a restful state automatically as soon as you start to relax your muscles. Another highly effective neurological technique is guided imagery, a type of visualization meditation. When you imagine yourself walking along a calm beach or lying under a cool, shady tree, areas of the brain related to safety, such as the orbitofrontal cortex, become activated. At the same time, areas responsible for anxiety and alertness, like the amygdala, decrease in activity. You are essentially tricking your brain with calming images so that it stops scanning for danger, allowing your entire nervous system to shift into a relaxed mode. 6. Eliminate dietary habits that interfere with sleep. There are many familiar elements in our daily lives that seem harmless but quietly disrupt sleep by directly affecting the nervous system hormone levels and the brain's biological responses. If you have been trying to build a healthy sleep routine but still find yourself tossing and turning at night, chances are something you are putting into your body may be the real culprit. First and foremost, caffeine is the most common hidden saboteur. It is not just found in coffee. Caffeine is also present in tea, soft drinks, energy drinks, and even chocolate. Biologically, caffeine is an adenosine blocker, adenosine being the molecule that builds up in the brain to create a feeling of sleepiness. When you drink coffee, caffeine tricks your brain into thinking you are not tired even when your body clearly is. What is more concerning is that caffeine has a half-life of about 6 to 8 hours, which means if you drink a cup of coffee at 2 in the afternoon, it could still be in your system by 10 at night. This effect is especially pronounced in older adults whose bodies process caffeine more slowly with age. Next is alcohol, a drink many people believe helps them fall asleep faster. It is true that alcohol can make you feel drowsy at first by depressing cortical brain activity, but that is only on the surface. In the later stages of sleep, when your body needs to regenerate and enter deep restorative cycles, alcohol disrupts REM sleep, increases nighttime awakenings, and leaves you feeling even more exhausted the next morning. Alcohol also raises body temperature and interferes with the nighttime breathing, particularly in older adults. Nicotine, commonly found in cigarettes and replacement products, is a strong neural stimulant. It raises heart rate, increases blood pressure, and keeps the brain on alert. Smokers often take longer to fall asleep and tend to experience lighter, more fragmented sleep. Similarly, dark chocolate, especially those containing over 70% cacao, contains both caffeine and theobromine, another compound known to stimulate the central nervous system. In addition, heavy or greasy meals late at night force the stomach to work overtime, increasing acid production and disrupting your body's core temperature, all of which interfere with the natural biological sleep cycle. Instead of these sleep disruptors, you can try incorporating natural sleep-friendly foods. A warm glass of milk rich in tryptophan, the amino acid precursor to melatonin, can promote sleep. Bananas offer magnesium and potassium which help relax muscles. Herbal teas like chamomile or peppermint can soothe the nervous system. Some people also find that oats or whole grain cereals help them sleep better by keeping blood sugar levels stable throughout the night. Sleep is not just a resting state of the body. It is a complex neurological process that requires a harmonious coordination of biology, psychology, and lifestyle habits. We cannot command the brain to fall asleep, but we absolutely can train it. By resetting biological signals, building healthy behaviors, and eliminating the subtle disruptors that silently interfere. There are no shortcuts. But with consistency, a clear understanding of how sleep works, and daily practice, you can absolutely help your brain enter sleep naturally, deeply, and sustainably. If you found this information helpful, leave a comment like, "I am reclaiming my brain's natural ability to sleep," as a positive commitment to yourself. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out on meaningful insights about health, mental clarity, and how to live a better life every single day. Let us build a community that sleeps well, lives healthy, and thinks positively, because you deserve real restorative rest.